Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of Any Percent, the only podcast where one of the hosts might be a little tipsy, but I'm not going to tell you which one. With me today, I have Evan.
What's up?
And I got Casper.
How's it going?
One of these days we'll have a guest. One of these. Oh, I am your host, Kody. I was going to say, one of these days we'll have a guest. That would be fun.
Yeah. I think that's like the 4th time we've talked about it.
Yes, I think it is too. So just give you a rundown on Any Percent. Our longtime listeners will know this, but for those that are new, Any Percent is a podcast where every 2 weeks we pick a game off our backlog and we play through it, as much of it as we can, thus the name Any Percent, and then we talk about it. And this is episode 5, and our episode this week is on Psychonauts. So I'll throw it to Evan for a little intro on Psychonauts.
Psychonauts, good ass game. I really liked it. It is a platformer from the year 2005, when I was a mere 9 years old and a wee pup. It is a platform game by Double Fine, famous for doing like point and click games for a long time. They did Grim Fandango, and I'm like spacing on the other ones that they've done, but then they did what's like their most recent shit? They've done that Broken Age, which is also a point and click, which is really good. And then they also did Brutal Legend, which I played, which is a really weird game to think back on because it seems like it's from a different universe.
I didn't know that they did that.
Like it's from an alternate timeline.
Right. Huh. Yep. That's Double Fine, man. They just just throw shit at the wall. They just do whatever they want. Yeah,
they just make weird shit, make what they want to make.
Recently purchased by Microsoft. I think that needs to be mentioned. That was a surprise. But yeah.
The sequel to Psychonauts will probably only be on Xbox.
Probably, right?
And PC, probably. Because they do that now.
Yeah. But, sorry, I'm like all messed up because Kody is sharing his screen.
Yeah, just don't look at it.
Like messing me up. I'm just like distracted by this like repeating pattern. It's like the golden ratio.
Boom.
It's God. I'm like spacing so hard, you guys. It is we had a false start because I messed up my recording where I should be doing this opening. I'm so tired. I'm so sleepy. But yeah, it's a platform game, and it's very much like feels like the cartoons of like the early 2000s, like Invader Zim or like Real Monsters. I know that's actually the 90s, but like it's very like gross out humory, but it's also like plenty of wholesome and you know it's going for like a very specific style. Like there hasn't been a game since, I don't think, that really looks quite like it. So yeah, it's just, it harkens back to kind of like where American cartoons were at in the early 2000s. So I say harkens back, it was that, right? Like they copied what cartoons were like at the time.
Yeah, I could definitely see it.
But yeah,
beyond like Nickelodeon, you know.
I am so surprised that they never made like a cartoon out of this show or this game. I almost feel like they made the game with the hopes that there would be a cartoon. But yeah, that's Psychonauts. So I played the second half of the game. I picked it up a save that I had started like in like 2013. I played it on the PC, but I played just the back half, and I thought that was an interesting way to approach this podcast because I only had time to play half, so I could either start this save or start from the beginning. So I relearned all the controls and stuff and just played it from the middle. So yeah, what about Kody?
So unfortunately I wasn't able to play as much as I wanted to, which kind of sucks. I really wanted to dive into it for this episode because I remember it so fondly from the past. I had it for PS2, and I just remember like, you know, taking turns with my cousin. I don't know why that just sticks out in my mind. I tried to pick up a save. I bought it, you know, during one of the Steam sales, like however many years ago. And we'll get into it, but it shows its age, unfortunately.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
So we'll definitely talk about that. What about you, Casper? How far did you get into it?
I beat the game. I liked it a lot. It was really fun. It was different from most games. It was cute. It was funny. It did definitely not age the best, but it was still a good platformer for the most part.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, we'll definitely get into, that's the meat and potatoes of this show, baby.
But first we got the hors d'oeuvres, baby.
Yeah.
We got
a tease.
Cheese and crackers.
Yeah, true. So first, every episode I try to bring like a news story type thing, a recent event to get the clicks. No.
At what point can we assume people know the format of our show and that we don't have to be like, so
that's a
we're
good
going to
question.
do this?
Well, if we had a good name for it, then we could just say the name. If the name was very descriptive, maybe we call it recent event or current. Nah, we'll figure it out. And then, we're going to talk about Casper. He's got a question that's just been burning in his brain. He has to ask this question. So we'll get into that. So I figured this week, with the Game Awards coming up, maybe we can talk about the Game Awards in general, and then maybe, I picked out 5 or so categories. Maybe we can talk about what we think's going to win, a little bit of predictions, and then maybe talk about what maybe should win in our opinions based on, what we played, that sort of thing. The Game Awards, Geoff Keighley's brainchild. This is like what he puts a lot of effort into throughout the year, just getting the show ready and all the announcements, and just, coordinating with everybody, trying to line it up. I think Game Awards is great. I try to watch every year. There's that discussion that can be had about, our games are and all that, and like how do you, that whole thing. I don't want to get into that necessarily here. I think it's obvious that they are art. Or maybe they aren't. They're not like art in the traditional sense. Anyway, but yeah. So
I'm making a face for the audio listeners. I was looking around the room skeptically.
Like art, yeah, right. I think that the Game Awards are important though, because it kind of, obviously recognizes, the standout game. Like, when you talk about, what was the game of the year this year, and it has the general consensus of the community, both critics and regular old Joes like us, I think that, I think that's super cool. So,
I was a little bummed to learn, I looked at the TOS, basically the, terms of service of the whole thing, or kind of the description. Anyway, I'm being wordy, but it's only 10% of the deciding power goes to the public vote.
Right.
Well, who gets to decide then? Who's
a panel of industry professionals.
Yeah, so it's actually on the website, for those listening, you can kind of see who qualifies to be those panelists. Traditionally it's just reviewers. It might be some more popular influencers, but it's global too. So it kind of, it's not just, only in the US, right? It's trying to reach out and ask the whole reviewers from all over.
Every gamer across the globe.
Yeah, and that that is kind of weird that it's only 10%. That's an important note. I feel like maybe it should be weighted more. I know some categories.
I would say it should be weighted more, but if you weight it more, and then you end up with Bodie McBoatface or whatever.
Yeah.
The situations where people do terrible things on the internet.
Yeah.
Right, and we'll see when we kind of discuss maybe the game of the year is one of the categories I chose. Last of Us 2's on there, and I feel like, maybe a bunch of 4chaners could kind of get together and maybe, I don't know, vote against Last of Us or something like that. I don't know. It gets kind of weird. But yeah, this is a good time to mention. So we plan on doing a live stream and not a reaction. What do we call it? A watch along.
We're gonna do it a watch along.
Yeah. Which could be fun. We plan on doing some predictions before the actual show, because every year the reveals are kind of bigger and bigger. So I think it'd be kind of fun. Tune in.
Yeah. So we're just gonna talk
Twitter.
over it. So if you guys like listening to us, and you're not doing anything
if
on
you're
Thursday.
Just out of your mind.
So if you're like free and you like want to get a drink sometime, like
Right.
that would be cool with me. Like, yeah. But yeah, so Thursday night we'll probably hop on like an hour before or maybe 40 minutes. I don't know. Enough time for us to chat. And
check our Twitter for updates.
Yeah, check our Twitter. The Twitter is alive now. I brought it from the ashes. It has existed for like 2 months, and I haven't signed into it until today.
It's like Frankenstein's monster.
If you want updates, follow us on Twitter. Any %cast, I think, is the Twitter. Doesn't matter.
So. Yeah. Yeah. So let's just jump into it. So right here, I've got. If you guys can see, I've got Game of the Year. I think that's obviously a very. Actually, maybe we should have done it at the end. It's whatever. Game of the Year. Okay?
I know it's kind of a big one to open with.
It's the meat and potatoes.
No, let's do it at the end. Let's do it at the end.
Okay. We'll do Game of the Year.
Change category.
All right. Best game direction. Okay. So for those audio listeners, I'm on the Game Awards. I'm looking at the nominees for Best Game Direction. Okay. So we got Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and then Last of Us Part 2. And a little blurb about game direction. So this is awarded for outstanding creative division and innovation in game direction and design. What does that really mean?
You said division instead of vision.
Oh, Jesus
The creative division.
That's not good. What do you guys think, like, what does game direction mean to you? You know what I mean? Because that blurb doesn't really say anything, really.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Like, I feel like a quality game direction should kind of...
I think you
should almost identify with the director, if that makes any sense. In film direction, right? Like, you like a director because you know they will direct something like with the right writers, the right actors, and all that. So it's like how well I think is the whole thing like kind of pulled together.
I think
that makes sense when you put it like that. Yeah.
I think part of it's too like the pacing. Like you gotta make sure everything flows seamlessly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I guess I think personally, and I don't know about you guys, but I get this one kind of mixed up with Game of the Year, and I think a lot of the times maybe they go hand in hand because
I think they do. I think a lot of people probably feel similarly.
Yeah, and so I personally, anyways, I just get a little confused when but the way Evan mentioned it just now, that makes it a little more, clicks a little better in my brain, kind of like assembling the best team around you. And then, all your guys' vision and how it's executed. That's a good way to put it. So I guess, what do you guys think, just from looking at these games, what do you think is going to win Best Game Direction?
I only played one of these games.
Yeah, I guess that's a tricky part. I actually have played 3 of them as well. So,
what games have you guys played out of these?
So I've played Final Fantasy VII, Hades, and The Last of Us.
Okay.
What about you, Kody?
I played Ghosts of Tsushima, Hades, and Last of Us. So.
Okay, I played Half-Life Alyx, and that's it out of this list.
Oh, hey!
Oh, we got the full spread, though.
Okay, interesting, yeah.
All right, you're going to have to make a really strong case for Half-Life Alyx right now.
I think...
oh, yeah, you go.
Well, sorry, I was just going to say, like, wasn't Final Fantasy VII Remakes, like, development, wasn't that kind of just, like, hell?
I think so.
Is that one?
I don't know. You mean hell like crunch-wise, or like it was in development hell and it took forever to come out?
The development hell. I feel like it was announced like whenever the hell, and then it took forever, and you didn't hear anything about it, and you hear like, oh, this director's leaving, this one's jumping on. Like I feel like it was all over the place.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
It was E3 2015 that it was announced, and it released in 2014 or time travel 2019.
Yeah.
It was only a part too. It wasn't like a remake of the original, right? It's like half of it or something.
It's just the Midgar part,
right?
Oh,
didn't someone say like isn't that only like a fourth of the game or something like that?
Yeah, I have never actually played the OG Final Fantasy VII, but I do know. Yeah, it's like the game like opens up and adds like open world kind of mechanics where you kind of go in an airship around Earth, I think. And so it's none of that stuff. It's just the parts that happen in the city in like the first couple hours of the PS1 game. But I think they do a good job like stretching it out, and I know they add like more content. I actually haven't finished it. It was one of those games that like I burnt out on, and then said I'd get back to, and that's why we have this show.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Never finished anything.
Well, like,
but Evan, it gets my vote.
That one would get your vote for art direction or for game direction.
Yeah, I think I like it better than The Last of Us Part 2. I also didn't finish that. So the only one I finished of the 3 I played was Hades. And I like Hades, but I don't think its direction blows me away. Like I think some of the design stuff around Final Fantasy VII Remake, like how they chose to go for like an action RPG instead of a turn-based RPG like the original. Right. But they worked in the turn-based mechanics into the action RPG in like the best way I've ever seen, because some games try to do it and it just like sucks so bad.
Right.
So I think they did a really good job with that. And then they've like expanded upon the story, right? So it's like a couple-hour chunk of the original game that they've turned into a like AAA 20-hour title.
Right.
And I think that's like a feat. And I guess one could make the claim that they had the template to work off, which made for a clearer direction, a clearer vision.
Right.
But I still think they executed on their promise well of what the game was going to be, and I think it's sick. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel that.
I think, and like the art's great. Like I said, like the combat's great. The voice acting is great. I had a dream last night that the voice actor got like canceled on Twitter, and then they released a patch with a new voice actor for Cloud who was like from Long Island.
Dude, that's it. From Long Island.
Weird gives me like weird dreams, like super weird dreams.
I remember a story like that happened with one of the Yakuza guys.
Yeah, in Judgment, which was it's a Yakuza spin-off.
Okay, yeah, because I guess he like was into some drug stuff, and
I think he did some nose candy. I think
and that's really looked down upon in China or Japan. Not
and if
China.
You haven't heard, Japanese people have
emotions.
Feelings.
Yeah, they have emotions and feelings. Watch our episode on Yume Nikki. Yeah, so I think before I hand it off to Casper to talk about Half-Life Alyx a little bit, I think personally that Last of Us is gonna win. Now I don't know if it should win. I think I would personally give it to, because I didn't play Final Fantasy Remake or Half-Life Alyx, obviously, so I would give it to probably Ghost of Tsushima for me, because I think Ghost of Tsushima is not a perfect game, but if you talk about kind of like it pulled the pieces of a ton of different games, like I don't know the best way to describe this. Like I feel like it is. I can't explain it because Evan, you haven't played it, right?
No.
It is.
I've seen a little bit of it.
The game, the game looks great. The game sounds great. The combat's great, but I don't know if anything about it is like
standout.
Is like super standout, I guess, and maybe that's not a good argument for game direction. I also just like Sucker Punch.
If nothing stands out about it, like that is the worst directed game of the year.
Because it does everything at like 90%. It doesn't have anything that's like drastically bad about it. Does that make sense?
I suppose, yeah. So it's better than the sum of all of its parts.
Yeah, because I could, I don't know how Evan feels, but I like Last of Us 2 a lot. But I think that it fails like really hard at some point, and we'll probably talk about that in Game of the Year, right?
I didn't finish it, so no spoilers.
Okay, no spoilers. But I feel like Ghost of Tsushima is, it also goes. I said just a little bit ago, I really like Sucker Punch. I like their story as a studio. Sly Cooper, and you got Infamous. I feel like their evolution as a studio, it's all up. It's all up from here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, I feel like it's a culmination of everything that they've tried to because they really excel at sort of open world games. Their combat's always pretty interesting. Infamous 2. I'm thinking of what was it called? Second Son?
Yeah, that's not 2, but yeah.
No, right. I was just saying, like, it kind of like their combat gets better and better.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably the best at Ghost of Tsushima is the best at its combat. But anyways, so that would personally get my vote, and I didn't explain it well at all. But Casper, let's see what do you have anything to say about Half-Life Alyx?
Half-Life, it's made by Valve, and all Valve games are good. Like they don't have a lot, but they don't have any bad ones.
Yep.
But Wikipedia list of Valve games.
Oh, I guess Artifact was bad. That card game.
I've heard that Half-Life Alyx kind of changed VR in the same way that Half-Life did for, I guess, like narrative first-person games.
That sounds like you read it like in an ad. Yeah. You sound like an ad.
Well, so the problem with Half-Life Alyx is that no one can play it unless you have a freaking Vive, right?
No,
it's not an Oculus.
I have it for my Oculus.
Is it?
What do you have, Casper?
Oculus Rift.
Yeah. I think it works for
it works for everything.
No,
it was made for the index.
Because I don't have any other VR besides a PSVR, and obviously it's not coming to PlayStation.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to run. I have a pretty good computer.
Yeah, so I was going to say, too, like, if I had an Oculus Go 2 or whatever, right? Would it even be able to...
I don't think so.
Quest, I think.
Oculus Quest.
Yeah. What the hell is a Go?
Go is the really cheap
one. A Pokemon Go Quest 2.
Quest is like the one that they have 2 controllers. It's like the normal Oculus Rift, and the Go is a small one with like a little baby Wii remote.
That doesn't need a computer, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Shit, I was making fun of Kody and I'm the idiot. I've been had.
Half-Life.
Who's the tipsy one now?
It's hard to...
So I know, like, when it came out, everyone was really obsessed with, like, the writing on the whiteboard stuff.
I tried that. It's cool.
Like,
it's like super, like interactive in a way that other VR games are not.
Yeah,
right? Like, it just changed.
They must have... Yeah. Sorry.
This is actually an interesting note. So Campo Santo, right? Didn't they work on it a lot?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Campo Santo is a studio that did Firewatch. They got acquired by Valve. Mm-hmm. And then they were like working on Firewatch 2 or whatever. Or no, In the Valley of the Gods is what it was called. It was like I can't remember much about it, but it was like a Firewatch type game.
No, we only knew like a little bit about it anyways, but then
and
they
then
got bought.
Everybody, all the people that worked for them, like on their Twitter bios, they slowly dropped like In the Valley of the Gods from their Twitter bios.
It's kind of sad.
Like, I don't know. I think I saw a Polygon article about it.
Yeah, but I mean, if someone gives, I guess from a game developer standpoint, if someone gives you the opportunity to work on Half-Life, probably gonna take it. So understandable.
So anyway, like there's clearly some good talent behind it. Like Campo Santos, they're solid people. They've made good shit in the past. So,
but here's my question, Casper.
Yeah.
Right.
Should it get best game direction?
The thing is, I don't know, because when it comes to VR games, it probably is one of the best VR games, and it's VR games are different from regular games. You know, like they got the same gameplay loop, but they don't feel the same. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, playing Half-Life Alyx, it can kind of get really frustrating. Maybe it's just because I don't have good reflexes, you know, because it's like you're playing in real life. You have to actually shoot and aim like you would.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I hate shooting in VR. It's so much harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's a lot
Isn't it
harder.
Weird? Some games do it really well, though.
Yeah. Like if you get like a laser sight, it becomes easier, because then it's just like a point and click type thing. It's... I don't know. I don't think I would give it best game direction.
All right.
It's really good for VR, but it's still... VR is still in the early stages.
Right.
So if you compare it to other games, it's just not going to be up there.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll just move right along. Best narrative. Okay, best narrative. This little blurb is for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Its nominees are 12 or 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. No idea.
Aegis.
It's
Aegis.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put my hands on that one.
I've never heard
Final
of that
Fantasy
game.
Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and Last of Us Part 2. Casper, what do you think will win Best Narrative?
I never played any. I never even heard of the first one that you said.
Me neither.
13 Sentinels is... I'm going to look it up really quick. One of my buddies sent me some Snapchats of himself playing it, and I was like, this seems fucking awesome.
Really? It
like,
says written by George, like just a dude. Just one dude.
Yeah. So it's RTS. It's according to Wikipedia. I'll just read this.
Okay.
The game is divided between adventure side-scrolling segments and real-time strategy battles and follows 13 high school students in a fictionalized 1980s Japan who are dragged into a futuristic war between mechas and hostile kaiju in a non-linear narrative.
Kaiju, that's like giant
Shit
monsters,
seems
right?
so cool.
That sounds
it's like Godzilla's kaiju.
Okay.
That sounds awesome.
Okay, so
All right, hey,
based
don't write this one off.
based on what I know of these games for Best Narrative,
Yeah.
I'm going to ignore Sentinels because I don't know anything about that other than what you just said. But
Okay.
Sounds awesome. I'm giving it my vote just because it sounds awesome.
for
Like your vote that it will win, or your vote that it should win.
No, my vote that it should win.
Okay. I think this one again is gonna be like that Last of Us 2 again.
Mm-hmm.
Critics are pretty high on it. I think, and we're talking about kind of where Last of Us kind of falls. I would say for me it falls in kind of its narrative. I think it did a lot more, gameplay wise compared to the first game that I liked, and introduced a lot more mechanics and stuff that I liked. The narrative, not so hot for me. And I know
I gotta say it didn't speak to me either. Like,
especially if you didn't finish
it.
it, right? So like it didn't. I love the first game so much. I did beat Last of Us Part 2, but I just left the story. It's just no spoilers, but man, I tell you,
I think it would either be
I tell you nothing.
I think it would either be Final Fantasy VII or The Last of Us. I don't know about Final Fantasy VII because JRPGs, they either have great stories or they're just awful.
Right.
So
Yeah, the story's like pretty good.
You're an
It's not.
right?
It's not
Not
great.
special.
I mean, without spoiling anything, and I didn't finish the game, but my friend told me about this. Like, they do kind of narratively play with the idea that it is a remake. If that makes any sense, like maybe time
like
is
an alternate timeline.
maybe some stuff with time in the game that's not in the original.
Okay.
And maybe that's totally not true. This is something I'm like totally reporting this secondhand. But I gotta finish that game. I think probably The Last of Us Part 2 will win, even though I don't think it should. I don't think Hades will win. I mean,
that'd be cool if Hades wins.
It would be cool, but like it's.
I think it'll win in other categories.
I see Jerry.
The narrative, I think, is like such a backseat in Hades.
Yeah,
like,
true. I agree.
I always like skip through the parts where people talk. Like, I just like want to get back to slashing demons.
Yeah.
So
and
definitely not Hades. If Hades wins, I will eat.
You heard it here, folks. He's gonna.
You guys
eat
pick.
something.
If you're watching the video, comment what you want me to eat in this room, and I'll eat it.
I want you to see you eat that TV. I think that Ghost of Tsushima will not win because I feel like its narrative is. It's just like your classic samurai movie. I feel like it doesn't do anything. Some of the side quests are cool, and I think that's out of all these games, I guess Final Fantasy VII has side quests, right? But I think that Ghost has pretty cool side quests, but its main story is not really anything to write home about. It's your classic like gotta save your dad,
I'd be really surprised if Last of Us didn't win because it was a game that came out as like the narrative is super good and all that stuff.
Right. I feel like it's a shoo-in to win.
Yeah.
I think it does. Last of Us does interesting things, but I don't think it's the best out of. Let's jump to art direction. I feel like we could say a little more on art direction. For outstanding creative and our technical achievement, artistic design, animation, we got Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori, Will of the Wisps, and Last of Us Part 2.
There's only like one.
I know what
game.
Casper's vote is.
In each section,
Casper's vote.
What?
Casper's vote is Ori, I bet.
Yeah, it is. Well, I played the first one. I haven't played the second one, but if it's like, if it's like the first one, then yeah, I would vote for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really it looks really good. Like it's just so like it's going for some style that I don't even know like how I would describe. Right, like it's flat. It's
a lot of power
kind of like
effects.
How would I describe that?
Right.
It's like watercolor, but it's water. But it's not like it's not trying to be watercolor.
Right.
Like it's not trying to emulate that style. But that's like the closest thing that I can think of that it kind of makes me feel like is like watercolor.
Yeah, I always wanted to get into it because you just hear such great things about.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Especially coming from like I feel like it's been touted as one of the Xbox Game Studios like top games, right? So.
Yeah.
Definitely on the backlog. Hey, we can do that next time. Next time Casper gets to choose, we can pick the first one. I think personally that this one's interesting because I actually personally feel like Ghost of Tsushima is the best looking PS4 game. Write it down, put it on the box. All right, that might be controversial because I feel like a lot of people would give it to. Last of Us and its art style and it's kind of
I'd give it to Hades.
Really?
So that I think personally Hades is gonna get it.
Yeah.
And I think for me it's either between Ghost of Tsushima and Hades. Hades is just beautiful, just stunning.
Okay, so how many games is this? 4 now of Gen Z is the woman who does the art. Of 4 games of her getting just like so much better at isometric design.
Isn't it? It's dude, like just
if you look at this compared to Bastion.
Yeah, or right.
This game looks amazing.
I never played was Pyre, right? I never played Pyre.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of Transistor, and this game, Hades, looks so good. I played it on the Switch. Looks so good on the Switch. Even
Jerry
in just handheld mode.
Too. Jerry the dog in the background.
He's probably gonna pee in a sec. So I don't know, but Ghost of Tsushima is beautiful. It's beautiful in a different way, right? I don't think.
Yeah.
Just I picture this, some of the battles. It's your classic like one-on-one samurai battle or whatever.
Right.
Some of those get really pretty. Some of the effects throughout the game look really nice. I think that's something that you don't. Some games try to do it, but it just looks hokey. But I feel like Ghosts, it really it kind of puts you in that time period. I'm trying to think of other buzzwords. So there's a scene. There's a scene that sticks out.
A samurai.
Makes you feel like a samurai. There's a scene that really sticks out to me. It's like early in the game, where it shows like Ghost of Tsushima, like at the first hour or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You're like riding through a field, and just like all the leaves are going, and I was just like, this feels like a cinematic experience. Like this feels like a samurai movie, and I don't think anything else that I played before, makes me. I can't think. What's another game that's even in this? Like time period, can't even think of it. Don't know. But so Ghost of Tsushima, I'm not kidding you guys. Like hopefully we can play that at some point. I want to play it on my PS5 because then you can do the higher frame rate, turn the HDR on, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, let's do it.
That's something I'm looking forward to. Because you guys have PS4s, right? Anyways, I hope Hades wins. That's all I'm gonna say.
Keep going. We got
best score in music. Best score in music. This one, without it's the music and the score. Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, Will the Wisp, and Last of Us Part 2. I think I would give this one to Hades.
Yeah, I like Darren Cord. The music he does is just.
What a last name, Cord.
Yeah, I know.
I can't really say much for this because I never played any of them, so I don't know the music.
Yeah.
I mean, if Doom Eternal is like the first one, then the soundtrack is cool. It gets you pumped.
Right.
So,
yeah, Doom Eternal it's like Doom 2016. It's just like a ton of like electric metal guitars, just like
I'd probably go for that one then, because that's the only thing I really know of.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy VII Remake, even though
Okay.
Hades is a close second, just because even though those aren't new songs, God damn, like the theme to Final Fantasy VII is a beautiful, beautiful, like just.
That's what you were saying. Yeah.
I'll just cry if I hear it. I think like, and it's not that the story makes me. It's not like it makes me think of Final Fantasy VII per se. It's just such a beautiful composition. It's like I don't know. It's probably how MFs felt about like Mozart back in the day. So, I don't know. But I feel like Darren Korb and Hades is really, really good. It's just...
Yeah, I feel like...
not as good to me.
This one, I don't think Last of Us is going to win either, because it's a lot of... I don't know if... as I was playing, I don't know if it was different than the first game. I feel like it didn't really do anything different. I feel like that's...
banjo and guitar in the first game.
Yeah. What's up?
I said it was a lot of banjo and guitar in the first game.
Yeah, a lot of like... somber sounding. I don't think it does anything super... nothing sticks out in my mind, right? And I feel like Doom Eternal might have that same issue where it's like, yo, sick, it's more Doom. Like, it's more Doom song music.
Yeah, right. There's more Doom going into my ears, but...
Right. That's the problem I feel like with sequels have that issue sometimes. But yeah, so my vote is Hades. Man, what a beautiful
Well, I think
soundtrack.
Hades has the same problem, though, because, like, Darren Korb's music is, like, very, like... He's got like an acoustic guitar, and then he'll maybe do something that drives with like a distorted electric.
Right.
And I don't know. It's like a lot of it. Like I can tell the song is from Hades. I can tell the song is from Transistor or Bastion, like just by hearing the song.
Right.
And like he hasn't. Like I can't think of any of the songs from Hades, I guess. And I guess I'm kind of using a double standard, right? Because Final Fantasy VII Remake isn't really new either. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might switch mine to Final Fantasy VII because I just like the composure a lot, and I liked all the other.
Yeah, I think it's definitely
songs.
between probably that between that and Hades. I think.
Yeah, one or the other
that will win. Yeah. Well, I guess none of us played Will the Wisp. So I was gonna ask like how is Ori the first game? How is that?
It was good.
Very like breezy.
Yeah.
And spectral, I guess is the right word for it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Next one I have here.
But it's good.
I actually skipped audio design. I skipped it.
We can skip whatever.
So then best performance. Obviously voiceover acting, motion, performance capture. I think this one's always super interesting to me. So you have... Ashley Johnson as Ellie, Laura Bailey as Abby. Both those are Last of Us Part 2. And then the guy who plays Jin Sakai.
You're not even going to try to pronounce it. You're just...
What? Evan, you try.
Daisuke Tsuji.
Cool. That's so sick. And then the guy who, in Hades, the titular character Hades. And then Najee Jeter as Miles Morales in Miles Morales. I think that one's interesting because I feel like it just came like right before the cutoff.
Yeah.
And it must have had. It literally is just out in time.
Yeah, so I feel like it had just enough support to get it. So I think that's interesting. I wonder what. Anyways, this one I would not give it to Jin Sakai. I feel like so in Ghost of Tsushima he's like the main character, right? And some of the stuff he says is just insane. Like none of it. It's like. I see what it's going for. It's trying to be like, super serious samurai. But that stuff's a little cheesy to me. I see why it's here. I see why it's here because, it's a full performance. It's not just the voice, right? He's slicing and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think will take it?
Probably Ashley Johnson as Ellie would be my guess.
Yeah,
I think she won,
and probably who I'd vote for.
Yeah, I think she won when Last of Us came out as well, I believe.
Yeah, I think she's gonna win too.
Yeah.
I like Logan Cunningham as Hades. He's fine. Like it was weird to watch the No Clip documentary and learn like he's the only one who does voiceovers pretty much.
Right.
For Supergiant games, so it's just this one dude like doing different funny voices. So I don't know, like that like has totally broken this mystique for me, and like it makes this like a less attractive option. And then as far as like Miles Morales goes, like I don't know, he's okay. I actually just last night rewatched Into the Spider-Verse, and that kid's performance is so much better.
I would agree with that.
He brings Miles to life so much better.
Yeah, I would agree with everything you said. I think personally it's gonna be Ashley Johnson and Laura Bailey. I think they pretty much have this one wrapped up in a bow. Hades, I think he's probably. Would you say, Evan, that he is the best voice actor, or like the best acted character in the game?
I would say that I think that Zagreus is.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I wonder why it's not Zagreus, because maybe we're only saying that because Zagreus has more, he's the main character, has more lines, right? But I feel like he's better at what he does than.
But also, I don't think Zagreus is Logan Cunningham. I think it's Darren Korb.
Right. I was just saying, like, I wonder why he isn't nominated in place of.
Yeah, I don't think the Hades performance is like super. It's just a lot of like, it feels at this point like kind of derivative of like Kratos from 2018.
Yes,
like,
dude. That's
like, boy,
when I was playing
you do
it.
not
That's what I was.
The ways. It's like if Kratos was more of a dick.
Yeah,
and also like a king.
And I will say, like, when I first heard Hades, I was like, "Oh, that's pretty good." But then, like, when you hear it, it's like, "All right, buddy, take it easy." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I don't really have anything to say about Najee Jeter as Miles Morales. I feel like he kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think.
Yeah, it's just when you compare it, I think it's not as good. And then when you compare it to like, I think. What's his name? Yuri Lowenthal as Spider-Man, as Peter Parker.
In the first game, or
in both. Right. Like, I mean, he's just like I think a better voice actor.
Yep, I would agree with that. And I think I don't think that's controversial either. I think that Najee Jeter, I think it's set up to be a third game, and that's a different conversation. But I feel like he has room to grow for sure. I think Miles is such a cool character. I think he did a really good job, but like you said, I think Into the Spider-Verse is a better acted version of the character.
Yeah.
What do you think, Casper, out of these?
Probably the one who played Ellie, Ashley Johnson.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
That was an interesting category. All right. Final category. Not the final category, but the last one we're going to talk about. Game of the year. Recognize a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Okay? You got Doom Eternal, 7 Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and then Last of Us 2. So
it's Animal Crossing New Horizons.
You think so?
Really?
You think that'll take it?
For me, it is, dude.
Oh, for you it is.
That I think like technically it like pushes the Switch or it takes advantage of the Switch in like a really good way, right? It doesn't push the Switch because it's not like graphically amazing, but I think they work within their confines really, really well, and they make for like an experience that looks better than previous experiences, and runs better and all this other stuff. And they've also added so much. And if this is by like how much time I spent during quarantine playing this game, then it's Animal Crossing hands down.
Yeah.
It was definitely a good game for this year.
Yeah, I think this, obviously Animal Crossing hit at probably the perfect time. Literally,
the day it came out was the last day I was in my office at work.
Yeah, and I have, it was earlier this year. I have very fond memories of New Horizons because that was the start. We got a lot of classes. A lot of people would just like come over. Not a lot of people. All right, listen. All right, listen.
How many people?
I feel like all my friends were playing New Horizons, so it was just like the wave of Animal Crossing just took you over, and that's all everybody was talking about. I don't think that it is game of the year though, because there's a lot of flaws.
Like what? Like what?
Like what, dude? Okay, listen. No, so like I'm trying to think of like it's a bunch of small stuff, but to me they add up, and it's like, yo, why the hell is it not like this? Like, let's say,
so I think a lot of those complaints are probably
Yeah.
around the fact that when it came out, we all wanted to spend all day playing it every
Yeah.
day, and it's a game where
Right,
you're
you're
supposed
not
to play it
supposed
for like an
to.
hour a
Yeah.
day.
No, that's fair. That's actually really fair. I think that to me, game of the year, like I don't think that Animal Crossing New Horizons was the best game that came out this year.
Okay, but can I just throw this thought out there?
What's
if you
up?
had to hear game of 2020,
Yeah.
like it's
Right.
Animal Crossing. That's the 2020.
No, you're
game,
right. You're right. And I think
contextualized through this year.
right. No, you're right. You're right. It's just when, this little blurb here where it's like the best experience across all creative and technical field. The technical field is really where it sticks me. I'm like, oh, dude.
I think they did really well with like everything about how it runs and shit with the Switch. Like you got to consider all these other things are running on like
Switch,
far
yeah.
superior hardware.
No, you're right. That's true. It's an interesting one. I'm actually really I don't know where the the critically where this is gonna go. Obviously we're talking about regular people only have 10% of the vote. It's weighted differently.
Yeah.
If it was weighted more, definitely probably Animal Crossing. This one's interesting. I think this one is a toss up between Last of Us Part 2 and probably Animal Crossing.
I think.
So I think. Oh yeah, sorry, you go. Casper.
I think The Last of Us is probably gonna win because I still hear it being talked about on Twitter and stuff. It's still pretty popular.
I would.
Okay.
Right.
So my thought about this is like if 90% of the vote is like industry people,
Yeah.
like how many of them are designers? And if it's like a lot of designers, then I think Hades has a pretty good shot because I think Hades has like from a design perspective definitely like I don't want to say perfected, but like nailed the roguelike genre, I think,
you're right.
in
I think
the best way. It's like the most fun I've had playing a roguelike.
No,
that would be pretty cool.
And the same,
for sure.
If they won.
I played like Dead Cells this year too, which is obviously not didn't come out this year, but it's got nothing on Hades in terms of design.
I think. Well, so I was just gonna say really quickly. I think that if Hades wins, that's kind of like a Parasite winning the Oscars, sweeping at the Oscars moment. It's like, yo, this is the underdog. No one thought it was gonna win. Everyone's like, oh, 1917 for sure.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those things too where it kind of splits the vote, and then like the dude that was just chilling just ends up winning. You know what I mean? Like if the vote is split between Animal Crossing and Last of Us,
right.
But then, I don't know exactly how they narrow down. I don't know. This all the conversation. The Oscars does like this crazy thing, but yeah. So Casper, what do you think? You said Last of Us.
Yeah, I think Last of Us is probably gonna win, but I don't know.
I agree with that.
It's hard for me to say because I didn't play any of these games. I have no clue.
So Casper's a fake gamer.
I'm a fake gamer.
Well, I was just gonna say too, like, is Doom in? I feel like Doom isn't in like a ton of stuff this year. Yeah, and that kind of stinks because I feel like is it even in action games? But
I heard that people liked it, but after it came out, it kind of died quick. The excitement for it.
Yeah, I feel like no one talked about it. I feel because it came out the same. So I think it'll win Best Action for sure then.
Yeah, probably.
What
else is
yeah,
in?
maybe.
Hades,
Doom
Half-Life.
Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah,
I think that
one.
Win. Right.
Neo 2 better not win. That game was like not great.
Well, hot take.
I regret buying it.
Hot take.
Hot take.
Damn, you regret buying it. That sucks.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that kind of wraps up our Game Awards talk. When we come back, we will be in our next section. I guess it's going to be Casper's question, right?
Should we just skip that?
Casper's question.
Since this segment was so long.
We might skip it.
This was a very long segment.
We might skip it.
Skip it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
We'll save Casper's question for next time.
Yeah, you get 2 questions, Casper, next week. Wow. All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about Psychonauts. See you in a sec. Okay, and we're back. So you are listening to 80% Podcast.
I don't think you need to do a bumper in the middle.
No, well, in theory, maybe it's an ad right now. Anyways, we're back. We're going to talk about Psychonauts. I'm going to hand it off to Evan. What the hell are the sections that we talk about?
Shit. I thought you had them.
What?
Alright, fuck, I'm not going to leave over in my house. Yeah, so where's my notes? Alright, so yeah, we usually talk about mechanics and then the visuals and the sound and the narrative as separate sections.
Yeah.
So I guess let's start with.
Should we start with
visuals?
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like
this
game stands out visually.
Yeah.
It's like insane.
Yeah. So like it's got like let's get the cat out of the bag. It's like from 2005. So it looks a little jank today. Especially running it at 1080p on my PC. Like there's like so much like level of detail stuff that's like super visible.
Yeah.
But like as far as like the art direction goes, like it's like I said at the beginning of the podcast, it feels like very much like a cartoon from that time, like very Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yes.
Very, very Invader Zim.
Yeah.
Like kind of like gross. Like things about it are gross. And then I also think like the texturing is interesting in that game. Like everything looks like it was like painted with like on. Like if that makes any sense. Like there's a lot of like strong colors.
Right.
Like hard lines on the colors and stuff. Like people will have like green skin and then like a blotch of pink on both cheeks. And like it looks very painted on. Everybody looks like they're clay models.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I would say I would say that's a very good description. I will say, dude, when I was playing it right and Riley was sitting right next to me, she's like, "Yo, what the hell is this?" She's like, "What is that?" And she pointed to what's the bully character's name? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Keep talking about.
Riley saw that character model and was like, "Yo, what the fuck is that?" Because dude, I think the character model. So what you're describing, Evan, is most evident in the character models, because every character looks completely unlike the other characters. Right?
Yeah, they're all very like they all have like an exaggerated feature that separates them from like there's a guy with big ears, Bobby Zilch.
Bobby Zilch.
Let's get Bobby Zilch up for a second in the edit.
Yes, Casper,
but then
insert picture of Bobby
ears.
Zilch.
His name is Benny Fidelio.
It's classic though. Yeah, that's his right hand man. Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, they're both just they look like clay models, and like very like gross ones.
Yeah, it's I wonder how its art style was kind of looked at when it because like Casper mentioned earlier, like nothing looks like it like pretty much at all, right? Like it's so distinct art style. So Casper, what are your kind of like highlight? Like, what do you think of? I guess just the art style in general. Are you a fan of it?
I like it. I mean, if it came out today and had like a few more polygons, I think it would look great. You know.
Right.
Well, there's Psychonauts 2, which is gonna look like this.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Like super HD.
I wonder. Do you guys think that a remaster might be in the works? Kind of. Leading up to Psychonauts 2.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know, since since it's a Microsoft thing, maybe it would just come to the Xbox.
Right.
I don't know, but like what a lot of stuff you get out of a remaster is like available on the PC version. Like you can up all the you get the best version of it at the time.
Right.
Like, and it's sort of like actually like doing like a remake and like building new models and like doing a Blue Point thing and like building it from the ground up again. I don't think they will.
Yeah, that's a little. Because I will say, like, coming back to it, like we're gonna talk about mechanics later, right? But I think the way that it looks is, like we've mentioned, it looks kind of dated, and I feel like it's kind of holding it back. Like playing this on, like a TV that isn't even HD yet, you know what I mean? On your PS2, it definitely. I don't want to say I don't like it. Just like, you know what? I like everything, but some of the characters, like you're saying, Evan, are just disgusting. And I think they look even worse because of like how dated it is.
Yeah.
That's pretty harsh.
No, but it's like trying to gross you out. I mean, that's a sign that it's good, right? Like you're disgusted.
A lot of the characters.
That's intentional.
A lot of the characters, they have like this nightmarish look, which works for the game because it's all about dreams and stuff like that, or in the mind, I guess.
Yep. Oh, this little side note: have you guys? So there's a PlayStation VR, or like a VR game. Have you guys played that?
No, I've heard of it.
Rhombus of Ruin, yeah. I like Raz's character design.
I like Dogen.
I feel like in 2000, like early 2000s, goggles were so fucking in.
Goggles,
everyone was about goggles. Like
Jack and Dexter.
From Jack and Dexter.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
right.
Ty from Digimon had goggles.
Right.
And I remember when I was in first grade, I wanted to wear my brother's swim goggles to school.
Damn.
And my teacher told me I had to take them off, and I was like, "You don't understand. I'm a Digimon master."
Like you don't get it. Like I'm wearing these. You don't get it. Yeah, dude. There's something to be said. Well, it goes back to like, kind of like your cartoon comparison, right? It's just everything's super exaggerated, and that's just. But also, like it kind of doesn't really. Every one of their games has a distinct art style, right? So I was about to say like, it doesn't look like any of their games either. So. Yeah, I don't know. Well, like so you mentioned. So we talked about character design. Just like maybe we could talk about like the art direction as far as like the different worlds go, right? So
I think that's like fascinating because the fact that they could do dreams basically opened up the door to anything, right? Like they can make any kind of art style they want.
Yeah.
I know Kody, you finished the game a long time ago.
Yeah.
And Casper just finished the game. Sorry, I put that emphasis all the time.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've done it on the podcast. So, the best example of it being like way too open and like they should have used some restraint is the fucking meat circus at the end of the game. What a fucking strange.
That's a classic.
Upsetting. like
gross.
I don't know. Yeah. But yeah. I think for me the number one coolest looking area is also near the end. It's the Matador.
I was just gonna say that's something. That's something that sticks out. Even
I always get those mixed up. I'm sorry.
even if I haven't played, like that's always something that I'll remember is that, like world, I guess, right? It's just so.
Yeah.
I don't even know actually if this is for looks, but I just like the Milkman world a lot.
That one's weird too.
This
game's weird.
The game is fucking super weird. It tries to weird you out.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like it's good and it's. I think it's cool that they like unlocked all that potential by having it be a dream-based game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that one scene where, So you are going into your own head for the first time, and you see like that rundown gypsy caravan or whatever, right? And you kind of you step into, it's like all staticky, right, in the door, and you step into it, and it kind of has this crazy effect where like now you're in a different. Oh wait, so Evan didn't play the beginning. Casper, you know what I'm talking about,
yeah,
right?
I know what you're talking about. It's like an egg kind of that you're in.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, so like you go, so you walk into the caravan, right? It's all staticky.
Yeah.
And then you are kind of enveloped. Now you're in this like staticky egg. And it just like takes you out of where you were and just drops you in a new spot.
Yeah, because if you look back, the door is gone.
Yeah.
It's just
so
like a little room.
It's hard to describe. It kind of reminds me of like like a Doctor Strange, like when he's flying through the dimensions thing, right? Where it's like it just kind of wraps, or like your perspective is all shifting. And I don't think a game like one that comes to mind is probably like Control did stuff like that a lot, where just messes with your perception on the world itself. But Psychonauts, it definitely because it deals with dreams, right? It has that capability to do that.
Yeah.
So
Stanley Parable kind of did that, where like you walk into a room and everything's different.
Yeah, and it's just super like jarring. Like I kind of like oof.
So yeah, I feel like we're getting away from that art aspect of it.
Right.
But just to let's just keep going on this thought. Like I think from a design perspective, choosing to do it in dreams not only obviously opens up tons of like art stuff, like we were saying, but it opens up so many design choices, and like you can deliberately break the player's expectations, like kind of like how Stanley Parable does.
Right.
Like you don't know what to expect from a new level
because it's
a dream, whereas like the parallel of Stanley Parable is like you don't know what to expect in a new room because the game has set a precedence that it's gonna be like an anti-game. It's gonna just do things differently. So they both have this like central concept of just like we're gonna throw you into like something that is different, right? And so you can do so much cool stuff. I don't know.
It was cool that all the worlds were vibrant, and not only the dream worlds. If you go around the camp, even the camp has a lot of cool, vibrant stuff.
I thought the camp was really cool.
Yeah. The camp was, I just remember, we're talking about memories we've had with the game. I just remember me and my cousin just running around trying to find. It might have been the first. I'm trying to think of like the first game, like collectathon game, right? I think this one was like maybe the first one that I got into. I don't think I was anywhere near 100%ing it or whatever. But I just remember like very distinctly like running around like trying to find all the secrets in the camp itself. With my cousin. I can't remember like another like hub world type that I've done that with like so intent, even just as a kid, right? Obviously as an adult I have a bigger brain, more wrinkles, but as a kid I feel like you don't really care about I don't know, at least I didn't usually, but just the world is so unique and distinct that you kind of want it. It kind of leads to you exploring every inch of it, right?
It's a very I feel even the J worlds feel like very outlandish. In an inviting way. Like I want to see every inch of it. Or I did mine first. Jerry the dog.
So, I'm gonna shut the door. I'll be right.
mid section break. So yeah.
Keep this in, Casper.
I guess let's jump from visuals. Let's just jump into like design mechanics and stuff. So like, I think it's weird to go and play a game from 2005 where you get power-ups, right? Like that is like something that has been left behind in the world of game design. And it feels very much like, you know how like video games now are described as like experiences, like you go for like this video game feels like a video game, which is cool.
Right.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on the whole power-ups thing? Like, was that jarring for you guys?
I think when you're talking about it as like it's a psychic ability, right? And it kind of it kind of opens up what, like we were talking about before, like it kind of opens up what they're able to do because you have all this whole kit of powers. I know that there was one, Evan, that you, the flying around, right?
Oh, the levitation.
Yeah, the levitation
that kind of breaks the game.
The game.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, you can just jump so much higher, and you have so much control in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can like skip 3 platforms at a time in platforming parts. Or
right.
When I was in the bull level, the bull is like constantly running in a circle and charging you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to like run a short distance into an alley and wait.
Yeah.
And then run again. And I just kept jumping over with
and
it felt like I was cheating. It tries to not let you. So the hitbox above him is like way higher than he is.
Right.
But it is. I was able to jump over him.
Right. I wonder if that's like, I mean, it's not an oversight, I guess, but it's just like.
No, it is an oversight. It's 100%.
You think so? Yeah, because I mean, you think that okay, they try all the power up. You know what I mean? Like they try to go through it, but if you're just able to like, play the game in such a way that. I don't know. That's
I'm sure all the
interesting.
speedruns
use that as
it
a
probably
crutch.
abuses it.
Right.
Yeah. Although, who knows? Maybe it's one of those like 1 minute speedruns where they like break the game.
Yeah.
Well,
they get into
what topic are we on?
Game design.
We're
talking about
Oh,
power.
okay. So
and design.
I liked how every world had a different mechanic to it, for the most part. Like one that stood out was Lungfish Opulus. The one where you...
Is that the one with the kaiju?
Yeah.
Yeah, where you're giant.
Cool.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
I liked, for as far as that goes, I think the one with like the strategy board game one.
Oh yeah, like the...
It's so cool.
What's that? Waterloo World. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
I have just a list of all the worlds.
That's smart, yeah.
I don't know, yeah, they do a good job of like, because it's kind of a mini game, right? But they do a good job of integrating it into the game itself. Like it's almost like not a mini game. It's like a meta game, or it's like a mega game. It's like you got your initial gameplay loop, and then it recontextualizes that around like, okay, but like you're gonna be fighting as pieces. It's still the same game loop, but now it's got this other context.
Right.
So it's not really like a mini game, because I feel like a mini game is usually contextualized like within. It's inside the game loop, whereas this is like above the game loop. If that makes any sense. It's really cool. I don't know.
Dance Party, right. I'm just looking at the
Dance Party just didn't have any. It was just like the first like 3 levels don't have anything super.
There were tutorials
about them.
Right.
Yeah, and they're cool, I guess, but same thing with the Milkman level. I don't remember there being like a cool mechanic.
It was the you
Oh,
disguised.
is there stealth? Yeah.
You had it disguised, and if you used the clairvoyance, you could see what they saw, and you would always like be something different depending on what you were holding.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the speedrun. It's 31 minutes.
Wow.
And by 20 minutes, they're getting near the boss fight.
It was actually kind of a short game. I beat it, I think, in 8 hours. So I like that, though. I thought it was pretty well paced.
Yeah, it's back when, I don't know, you can make the argument that game devs kind of like cared about, like it wasn't like, oh, Dragon Age whatever is 300 hours.
Yeah. Like,
you know what I mean? Like they were kind of like.
Well, I don't think it was possible to make a 300-hour game that was also fun at that time.
Right. So I think that's cool. You beat 8 hours.
It's nice to have a game that you can actually beat.
Right.
Yeah.
Like beginning to end.
I do hate games where the side there's like 100 side quests, but they're all the same thing, or they're really boring.
Right.
It took me 14 hours, I guess, to beat the whole game.
Nice.
And that was from the original save and when I played this time. So.
Did you guys play on keyboard mouse?
No.
Oh my god. Did you?
So I my Xbox controller was like somewhere hard to get, somewhere not right at hand.
Way up in your butt.
Way up there, yeah. I don't want to get into how my apartment's laid out, but I would have to climb like a ladder and be like 12 feet in the air to get this controller. So I do. So I was playing it on keyboard mouse to start, and I'm like, oh, it's probably not gonna be that bad, right? Dude, it's bad. It's definitely the worst way to play.
Yeah, I feel like it's from like a time before, like there was some other game I'm trying to remember.
I want a remake so bad.
Isn't it like you use WAS, like you don't use the mouse, right? Like you try to emulate a controller using a keyboard?
Yeah, so with the mouse to like turn around, like platforming in this game with keyboard mouse is like impossible. Because to turn around you have to swipe, like the sensitivity is so bad. Like it's just they didn't even, I don't know, because it's obviously a port, right? It didn't come out on PC to start.
Yeah, but I'm trying this really quick.
You trying on keyboard and mouse?
Yeah.
All right, guys, live look.
Keep talking though.
Well, what's is that kind of? Are we wrapping up game design, game mechanics?
Yeah, I have no other big thoughts about the general design. So I mean, I think it's like very inspired by Zelda.
I got a couple.
Okay. Lay it on us, Casper.
One was the shop. Like I didn't really like having to collect cards for certain stuff, like the cobweb duster.
Oh yeah.
You need that to go farther into the game, but you have to collect cards. And if you want a lot, you have to use like a dowsing rod and go hunting for them.
Right.
Yeah.
That was like the only thing I really didn't like.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So I got a question for you guys. So how do you guys think it works as a? Because I personally I don't play a lot of platformers, right? Like 3D platformers. So what do you guys think about? Do you think that held up, or do you think it kind of showed its age in that respect, or?
It was easy for the most part because of the levitation thing.
Okay. I think it lacks the same polish that later or even earlier games kind of have. Like it definitely feels like the platforming feels pretty imprecise sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I hated this one part at the last level. It was like the Nightmare Dad was throwing stuff at you, and there's like a whole platform section for the final boss, and you had to jump on this fence, but the fence was like this, and the wire that you were jumping from was this way, and it curved the fence. Yeah. So trying to jump on it didn't work half the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too, because there's like a lot of sections where I felt like I was trying to do something. Like the one that sticks out to me just very early in the game is when you're running from it's like the coach's world or whatever, the war world obstacle course, and you have to run, like the machine gun shooting at you, and you have to run from behind the covers. Like I would jump, and then I would just get toasted, and I'm like, I'm in my mind I'm behind this thing, but it's like I guess I didn't jump exactly where you wanted me to be. Right. So I feel like there's
and then like with the I don't know, like the Sonic Adventure 2 like sliding parts where you're like grinding the rail.
Yep.
There's so many times where I went off the rail by accident.
I ran into that issue too, and I was that's why I want a remaster, dude. I bet they would fix all this. You know,
there's a lot of stuff where like tables acted like ramps, so you would just be like on a flat table, and it would like get you stuck on it, and you would glitch out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cody, how do I turn the camera?
Dude, when I was trying, is it you doing the mouse swipes?
No, I click the mouse to punch.
You click the mouse. Yeah. So it's like inverted. So when I did it, the
moving
mouse.
My mouse doesn't do anything.
Really? I wonder if it's a.
Maybe it thinks I have the controller in.
Maybe, because when I would do the mouse, it was inverted, but with the mouse. And I'm like, dude, this is disgusting. Like, I don't play inverted when I use a controller. Do you guys?
No,
I don't think so.
We've evolved since then.
No, well, yeah, because like back when this came out, like it was still like unclear like whether controls were gonna be like tank controls, right? Like, it's hard to believe that at one point it was revolutionary that left and right would turn you.
Right.
Or would strafe you instead of turning you.
Right.
And like I don't know.
It's disgusting.
This game definitely, had some work to still be done around camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like its camera is one of its most frustrating parts. Sometimes the camera just does like crazy stuff. Like I think one of the settings is like auto camera, with you being able to still move it as well. Sometimes you'll you'll like get close to a wall and then the camera would just like freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's a good game though. Despite all these flaws, I still think it's good. Do you guys want to talk about the sound, music? I feel like the music's pretty good. Yeah. I don't have a lot of thoughts on it.
When I think about the music, I just kind of remember it being like classical music, but they put some twist on it.
Kind of like fusion sound.
Yeah.
You like jazz?
I like jazz.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have much on it.
What do you guys think about like the voice acting?
I think it's pretty good, and it feels.
It's when you put it in that cartoonish perspective, Evan, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was all solid.
Yeah, they're pretty distinct.
Richard Horvitz.
My favorite character was Dogan. Dogan was the name.
Yeah, Dogan's
Dogan, the short potato child.
Yeah, it was like explode stuff with his brain.
Yeah.
That's where he wears the tinfoil, right? Yeah.
The guy who does the voice of Raz also does Zim.
Yeah.
And he also does.
There you go. Yep.
Billy from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, which is another
I hear that.
I brought up because this feels like that too, like that era of cartoon.
He did a voice for Destroy All Humans. I think he was like the alien overlord or something.
Oh yeah, he's
cool.
Orthopox.
Yeah,
right on, man.
He did so many voices around this time.
That's cool. I want to be a voice actor, but anyways.
So
sweet game.
Yeah, I think the performances are good. I think
they're all very distinct.
Raz's is the best by like a mile.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I don't know.
100%.
I'll look up the whole cast, but he feels like the one who is like a trained voice actor. Everyone else.
While you're looking that up, Evan, what do you guys think about like, I guess like the game's sound design as far as like sound effects and stuff go?
Very cartoonish, right? Like when you hop on the levitation balls, like.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
When you jump, it bounces,
like I can almost hear like that sound file being played when you do it. Does that make sense?
It doesn't feel like immersive, but it feels like a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was alright.
It's cool.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like nothing about this game is immersive. Like
right.
But games weren't immersive yet. It's okay. It didn't have to be immersive. Yeah, I don't know any of the people listed as the voice actors. I've never heard. Well, I guess I know Tara Strong.
Oh yeah, Tara Strong's in a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Who is she in this game?
Does a couple voices. He's Spike Spiegel.
Who's Tara Strong in this game? I can't even.
She's Shigor, which is the female Igor.
Oh,
okay.
She was at
the end of the game.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
She's like dating a turtle.
Yeah.
And then the turtle is like has a sexy voice. It's like a lot to unpack.
Yeah, imagine like when you try to explain like this game's story. I guess that's a good tie into the narrative. It's just like, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah. So like, what is the story? I'm trying to even remember how it starts. Like all the kids, it's a bunch of kids that go to summer camp for psychics.
Yeah, and then
right? And they want to be psychonauts, which are like the like 007 or the CIA,
top tier
like
psycho spies. Yep.
And that's like kind of the whole story. And that's the whole premise, right? And then somebody steals all the kids' brains.
Oh,
is that not until later?
That was like halfway through. But Raz, he ran away or something to the camp.
Of course, because he's the protagonist. And the protagonist has to run away from home.
Yeah, because so he wasn't, I guess, initially like in the his whole thing is he's trying to be a psychonaut like within a week before his dad picks him up or whatever. A day or whatever.
Yeah, this whole game took place in a day.
Right, so he's running around doing all this stuff. So yeah, what do you guys think? Like narratively.
I mean, it's like a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
So okay, especially the fact that I don't remember what the driving force of the first half of the game is. I remember the brain part because that's where I jumped in.
Yeah.
Like what even happens in the first half of the game, Casper? Or Kody? Why are we going into people's brains?
It's all just tutorials, pretty much. So like
it's under the context of training.
Yeah, pretty much. So like for
learning this new
Sasha
skill.
9, he needed to get some kind of badge to let him shoot stuff.
Yeah, he's trying to psycho blast or kinetic blast or something like that. So, he jumps in his brain so he can show him the ropes, and then stuff goes wrong, and then he has to, Yeah, and
then he has to get the levitation for some reason. I don't remember why. I think he's just trying to get all his badges before his dad picks him up. But then by the time night comes, that's when the brains get taken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's like the first parts of the game. There's kind of like this underlying like, whoa, something's kind of weird here. Like, oh, there's like this weird person I keep seeing, or like someone's messing stuff up or whatever. So there's kind of like that. And then
but I think that's like not an awesome narrative construct to have to like play the first half of the game for like the actual story to start.
The beginning was the worst part of the game, I think.
Yeah.
I narratively, like, that's so boring. Like, it's the kind of thing, like, when I like think about it in cartoons again, like it's the kind of thing they would cover just in like the first episode, and then everything else would take up more time. Whereas in this game, because you had to play these parts, you get to get a fast forwarded version of them, or they chose not to give us that in some form. There's not a lot of narrative drive for the first half, and there's not a lot to like. There's no stakes yet.
Right.
And it's just a long time to go without stakes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's totally fair.
So the narrative feels kind of simplistic to me, but I probably can't write a better one, but
yeah, I'm interested to see. I mean, like we're talking about for Psychonauts 2, I guess they can do all sorts of stuff just because of the world that they've created, right? So I wonder where it's gonna.
Right. Yeah, they can skip all the.
Yeah.
They can maybe have a story start when the game starts.
Exactly. Right.
Instead of halfway through.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. It was fun. It felt like it was just very cartoonish, and like the hunt for the brains was like very MacGuffin-esque. Like it was like, we gotta get those brains back. We just gotta do it.
The way for every brain, when you collect it, he just says something. He says something about it, and he kisses it, and then puts it in his pocket. It's just gross.
Yeah. Oh, that's so.
He just gives it a big roll.
We didn't talk about it in the other section, but what do you guys think of the animation?
It's kind of
all right.
It's all right. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously hand animated. To me, it looks hand animated. So there's a lot of inorganic movements sometimes. Like people can move kind of choppily.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of those things that was harder to notice on a 480p TV.
Right. Instead of my
Yeah. Back then they didn't have like procedural animation where like if you're on a slope and stuff, your leg goes higher than the other and all that stuff. It was just
or at least it wasn't common. Place.
Right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. I mean, for the time, it was good.
Yeah. I would say it's pretty good. Pretty good. This whole game is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think that pretty much covers our general stuff. We talked about everything. So let's jump into the final part. So, gentlemen, what's going on the stand?
I will go first. My stamp is gonna say, please remaster this game for the love of God. Please bring it forward into this new decade of ours. Please. That's what's on the stamp. Because, dude, I'm telling you, like, especially like in anticipation for Psychonauts 2, I would love to. I'm probably gonna try, Rhombus of Ruin. I want to get the whole picture before Psychonauts 2. I feel like it's pretty Would you guys say this is a cult classic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
the people who love this game really love it.
Yeah. And I want to see it, get more attention. Is why it needs to be remastered, please.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it being pretty fun on the Switch.
Yeah.
Dude.
But just
Yep.
the levels aren't too long. Like, it seems like, I don't know. I was really surprised when it wasn't on the Switch. It just seems
Me
like
too.
it should be.
Yeah, especially since a lot of Double Fine games are on the Switches.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna stamp it with it's fun. It's a good time. All right, bye. I don't feel like it holds up super well anymore.
That's a huge.
I don't think it's a bad game. I don't think it's an amazing game. I don't think it's like the best game ever, and I see why maybe they took a while to choose to do like a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they wanted to, let it kind of marinate in our minds for a long time and get a lot prettier. Because I don't know. Sometimes when if they do a sequel back to back, they can like really improve stuff, right? But that will like reflect really poorly on the first game,
right?
Or it can. So I almost feel like that's why they've waited for so long.
They're,
like, this is my tinfoil hat conspiracy.
Yeah,
no, they were waiting for us to do a podcast on it.
Yeah. They're like, oh, they're shadow release it after we drop this podcast.
Well,
like,
they probably
hit the button.
Want to have like the right idea to. But it's also weird too because they did Rhombus of Ruin and that was like totally out of left field. It was like, what? Like,
right.
Maybe they were testing to see if people were still psyched for
it.
If
the IP even had legs, right? Like I'm trying to think of another IP that took forever. Like nothing's coming to mind, but something that took, 15 years to come back. I don't know. Do you guys?
I know there was a couple, but I can't think of it.
We're all too tired. We gotta stop filming this. So
that's true too. Yeah. We should do it early. Casper, your stamp.
Oh, get it, play it. Definitely get it if it ever gets a remaster. I would play it with a controller.
Jesus Christ.
Play it with a controller. I like that for the stamp.
Play it with a controller.
Yeah, those mouse controls are rough.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I still play a ton of old games, so it's not like it's super dated for me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has its flaws, but I would get it. It's definitely worth the money.
Yeah, pick it up in a summer sale or a Steam sale.
Christmas sale.
Yeah, it does suck that you can only get it on PC.
I know. Yeah. Isn't that rough? Yeah. I guess you can. Actually, I did see you could get it on PS4.
Oh, really?
I have no idea how that port is.
Well, it's probably not a port. It's probably all the PS2 games on PS4, I believe, are just running like a PS2 emulator.
Okay, that would make sense too.
PS4. Oh yeah, it's only $10.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe
it's not bad. Get it on that.
Yeah, I wonder how that runs. I think I was looking up like how it runs, just to see if I should get it for Thanksgiving break, and I heard bad stuff about it. So
I don't know.
Anyways,
we're all too tired to keep talking.
Evan, next episode.
Next episode, we are playing Firewatch.
Yeah.
Firewatch is like one of my favorite games from what year did it come out? 2015. Super solid. I remember playing it in my dorm room my sophomore year of college with my roommate Paul. He just like sat and watched me play it the whole time.
Nice.
I love that.
That's awesome.
So we're gonna play that.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about it. I know I say this at the end of every episode, but I'm gonna try to take notes so that I can have a more intelligent conversation. I just gotta make it like a habit to have my notebook with me, because I'm always like playing. I sit down to play, and I'm like, I think of something. I'm like, I'll write that down when I get to my notebook, and then I never get to my notebook.
Right.
Yeah.
Firewatch, Campo Santo. We just talked about them. Very cool.
Yeah.
Debut game, right? Wow. Really hit it out of the park with that one.
Yeah. Kind of a bummer.
So I beat it. Evans beat it, and Casper will be his first time, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Just picked it up. Yep.
Woo. So they'll be back in 2 weeks with that. thank you, loved ones, for listening to our podcast. The only podcast for 35-year-old people. The only podcast that's just a bunch of white dudes. The only podcast.
Talk about PS5.
Yeah, we talk about the PS5. We're the only podcast.
Subscribe, that stuff.
Subscribe.
God.
Follow the Twitter.
We have like such low energy. It's so comical. We're like, if you don't mind, you can like
do whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Put that on a stamp.
But yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Next week, we're definitely gonna do the Game Awards watch along. So if you're listening to this before then,
maybe we'll have a bunch of guests as well.
Yeah, we'll maybe have some guests.
Yep. All right,
fellas.
See you later.
Sweet dreams. I'm going to bed.
Good night.
Night.